Welcome to this edition of Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Woo!
The shitlords of cinematic scrutiny, we meet to watch a film and discuss that film the next week. And we are here to do that tonight, discuss a film. And actually, we are here to discuss the final film of our latest round of Cinema Under Glass, which is our sort of theme rounds. And this time was Chicks Before Dicks, Bros Before Hoes, The Buddy Picture.
Buddy Picture.
And we closed the theme out with The Blues Brothers from 1980, selected by Condi.
Yay, winning by default. You gotta love it.
Welcome to my world, Condi.
That's how it feels to be you,
And
Kenzie.
mine.
Or as we like to call it, getting johned.
Got a back kiss of the Johns this time, didn't you, Condi?
We're going to discuss The Blues Brothers, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, we are.
Tear it apart, yeah?
I guess so.
dig right into it.
Since we all came here today.
Like
Might
a
as well.
raccoon chewing through a carcass.
Supersized
All right.
podcast with this many people.
So let's, let's get to it then. Clockwise, starting with me, I'm Ed.
I'm Condi.
I'm John.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Raul.
I'm Cody.
I'm Zeb.
All right. So let's see. The vital statistics, the seeds and stems of this film are first, right?
Well, actually, the synopsis is first.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kenzie,
That's me.
synopsis?
Okay.
Synopsis?
Oh, this is already going to be great.
Okay. This movie is about two guys who wear suits and fedoras. And it's like starting off with one of the guys in jail for some reason. And then they get out of jail, or he gets out of jail, and then they get beaten by nuns. And then there's like music, a lot of music, and it's long. It's very long. That's pretty much it, though.
All right.
And the nation's got to know,
There
is
we go.
anybody in Don Corleone's Balone Zone
Yeah.
in this movie?
No.
Well, there was no
I hated
flesh
this
on display
No.
for you this
Not
time?
even, not even the Belush when he took his sunglasses off?
I don't think so.
Does the eyebrows?
Not even Cab Calloway when he started
No.
dancing?
Not
No.
even Donald Duck Dunn and his pipe.
No.
Dude, not even James Brown?
Wait, okay.
John
Well,
Candy.
The blind guy from the Pepsi
Come on, you could be a Knight Rider one time, right?
In a live setting, probably.
Oh, okay.
Probably some of the musicians.
All
but,
right.
you
Ray
know.
Charles.
From this movie, no.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Sorry, guys.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though
all right.
most of you are dead.
So this film was released on June 20th, 1980, directed by John the Butcher Landis.
Fly lower. Fly lower.
Roasty.
More explosions, please. Co-written by Landis and Dan Aykroyd. It stars Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Cab Calloway, and Microwave Marge from Gremlins 2.
Kathleen Friedman.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
What is it again?
Kathleen Friedman.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Microwave Marge. She's great.
How do you know that, Zeb?
This is
I
Zeb. Of course
I
he
should know
knows.
that. I should know that. That's one of the great things about having Zeb is he'll know the stuff that I should know, like that. And in terms of, there was about 1 billion different locations this film was shot at, so I will just say that it was filmed mostly in Chi-Town, Milwaukee, and Hollywood.
All right.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, Blues Brothers. So shall we start dishing on it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So 3 minutes, 3 words. We'll start with Condi because it was his film.
Ooh.
And he could tell us why he picked it and what he thought of it. 3 minutes, 3 words, Condi. Go ahead. Let us know.
Well, I had a really struggle with this particular theme. There were some movies that I felt like matched the theme, some that didn't. And so there was a lot of movies to go with
that
this.
impacted your decision-making process?
Well, it's you see like some great. These were all great movies, with a couple of exceptions, and there's great movies out there like Spies Like Us. I wanted to go like maybe Enemy Mine or like The Iron Giant.
There is some pressure when you're going last, I think.
Yeah.
You got to throw the heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to bring it.
Yeah. But when everybody says buddy flick, there's 2 movies for me that comes to mind. That's The Blues Brothers and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I thought you were going to say When Marnie Was There.
Ooh,
That's a Lesby Friends movie.
Hey, yeah, there was the romance, section there. I couldn't do
It
it.
is not.
But this movie's amazing. So much great music that I grew up with, and seeing everybody in their prime so to speak.
I don't know about Cab Calloway. In his fucking prime.
Well, I mean, come on.
He looked good, though.
He still looked
great,
damn
but
good.
I certainly think he left his prime in the 1940s.
But, unfortunately, I don't know. I think I'd say 60% of this cast isn't with us anymore. And the other 40% is well on their way.
Thanks to John Landis.
Yeah.
No, I'm
and, it was a great comedy. And it was loosely familial.
Sure.
That's what made me pick this over Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, which is obviously a cinema classic.
Oh, yeah. And
You said classic.
Well, I should ban you from saying gravitas, John.
Hey, you know what? People just keep bringing that up. I almost never say it anymore.
I've never heard John say that.
Yes.
I only hear you say that.
Really?
I said it once, and I was
were you
mocked
not
about
around
it.
for the 100th film?
But that time it fit.
I just like that we're taking it back from Kiefer Sutherland. That's why it became a big deal in the
That's
first
who you
place.
got to blame. It's all because of Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, so.
You leave Jack Bauer alone. He saved us all. He saved every one of us.
With his gravitas. All right, continue, please.
So I guess my 3 words, just to make it short, because we have lots of podcasting to do today, will be Mission from God.
Ah, nice.
Good one. All right, bitchin'. John?
All right. Well, yeah. I can see. This is a really good movie. Now, I never saw this as a kid, and I mean, I was 2 when it came out, but this was still such a huge thing. This movie for people of our generation, the generation right before it, but I just never caught it because I knew it was a big deal, so I didn't want to watch it edited on TV with commercials, and I just never got into renting it on VHS. So I only saw it the first time, probably in the last 10 years off of Netflix, and I mean. So I missed out on...
It was in the Patient Zero days because I sampled it.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, so we're talking 05.
Okay, so yeah. So about 10, 11 years ago. And so I didn't get that love of it through my life, but I can see why people love this movie so much. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's got amazing cameos. It's a lot of fun. I like it, and I don't know if this is deliberate or not, but the general setup is very much like a Three Stooges because they basically have to save the orphanage.
Right.
Through whatever means they have,
and they have a very potentially dubious familial bond.
Right, exactly. And getting out of prison, there's so many Three Stooges shorts where they were in and out of prison. So the idea of them being on the wrong side of the law and being deadbeats and then having to save their orphanage was very Three Stooges to me, which I liked. And God, the car chases, when they're driving through the mall. I mean, it just
Mall's got everything.
Just so awesome. Everything. I mean, this movie set the record, I guess, for wrecked police cars when it had come out, or wrecked cars in general.
Yes.
I remember thinking to myself when we were watching, just Jesus.
Yeah. You've never seen
They must
so
have
many
had
fucking
they must have had a
cars.
factory stamping these motherfuckers out each
and
day
just,
of shooting.
and they come right off the assembly line right into a brick wall because they just get trashed. But it's a lot of fun. If you've never seen it, it's a road picture, it's a musical, it's a buddy picture. It's got a lot going on, and this is only the 3rd time I'd seen it, but I like it more every time I see it.
All right, your 3 words.
Oh God, man, drawing a blank. I should.
There you go, drawing a
blank.
blank.
Drawing a blank.
Okay, Kenzie.
So for John's car crash thing, it did hold the record for the most car crashes or crash cars in a movie until the bastard sequel of it. I think it was Blues Brothers 2001 or 2000,
oh, God.
where they crashed one more car to break the record. So,
fuck that movie.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to jump over Kenzie briefly in the interest of
balance.
Balance, yes, spreading out our
spreading. I
our
believe.
our gender
I thought it was
diversity.
vag spreading.
Yes, we're trying to spread the vag out as thinly as we can because we've got so little of it here. So let's.
Especially without Jason Land around.
Yeah.
Let's take it to.
That was a good one.
Let's take it to Garrett. Move that mic right in front and tell us. You give us 3 minutes, 3 words on the Blues Brothers. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I have a similar reaction to John in that I grew up understanding this was an important movie to people whose judgment I didn't fully trust. And there came a time, 15 or 16 years ago, I saw it on the big screen, a new print. It was impressive, except it was disappointing. So it lived up to exactly what I thought it would be, largely because it's a series of goofy episodes that, as I remember it, work best when it is just devoted to celebrating the music of it all. And as I get the Blues Brothers shtick, well, there's a bunch of things. I'm going to shotgun blast, all right? So Aykroyd and Belushi, it's strange to think that they were not very specialized entertainers. They did virtually anything they could put their eyes to, right? They acted, they did comedy, they did music, they did physical stunts. There was very little they wouldn't try in the interest of trying to entertain an audience and themselves as young people. And that's different than how I think a lot of performers today often behave, at least ones that we sort of cherish and dig. So that gets me back to a point. That what was good about this movie is that they seem to just really dig this music. And I don't buy the particular persona that they're involved with. However, they're not bad musicians. And then when they go hang out on stage with world-class musicians, it's really kind of rad. And when I was a kid, these are musicians that I'd heard their music just at the edges of my life. And so when you see them on a screen behaving in front of other people, it's strange to take radio and turn it into something that has an image, to see a real person that's, well, bigger than their voice. So there's one shot. Then the concept of wigger. That was that was really big, and I've always
Man,
reflected
so glad
on
I
this.
didn't have to bring it up.
Well, this is another one of those deals, right? Like, white people make it safe for other white people to go listen to black music because we're scared of black people. And that's me, right? I'm a kid who grew up around a bunch of white people, and this music that I'd only kind of heard around the edges, and generally older racist people would say, oh, that's black people, and you would, I don't want to offend. But then when the Blues Brothers or people like them say, hey, this is cool, you start to think, well, hey, maybe it is. And that has a leap into the conventional moment of today. You have an Eminem, and that lets you go see Kendrick Lamar and things of this sort. So it's an old standard. Elvis defines it, and so on and so on and so on. Mostly, though, I think this movie is fun just in its set pieces, which means that although it was scripted, yeah, kinda, I don't think really that's what was going on. I know that it was driven by cost overruns, and they really pissed off the brass, and they couldn't open it very well. And it was kind of a mess to get the thing out to a public that was still swarming and went for it. And part of that, I think, is it's not a very organized movie. And that spills over, and I know that I've watched Kinsey so far roll her eyes a few times about how long this movie is. I agree. It is really long. If there were a way to get like a fast cut that would go like 70 minutes, then that might be the movie.
Because the director's cut we watched is like 2.5.
Right. I think the one that I saw was 2:10, 2:15, something like that. So it's a very
She's complaining
full
about it being long, but she likes Tarantino movies. Yeah.
I love Tarantino
Yeah,
movies.
shut the hell up
because
then over
he
there.
can actually distract me from how long it is.
And also, I grew up, and one of the first celebrity deaths that I can remember was Belushi. And he died of a drug overdose, and drugs are bad. And it was just before Nancy Reagan said, just say no. No, all these things coalesced to mean that John Belushi, as a person in history, is kind of pivotal to my understanding of like, well, adults can do stupid shit and die. And so we kind of celebrate what they've done regardless of its value because they died, martyring themselves for the cause of their
just
art.
talking about Sublime earlier today. The band Sublime.
Yes.
Same thing. Same fucking thing.
And so it kind of is in that halo of these were his final things he did before he offed himself quite by accident, and what would have become of it all? Well, I don't know. This is also a sign of some celebrities getting away with it. Aykroyd and Belushi had the privilege to get into Universal's C-note or C-level guys to say, hey, can we have $15 million to go make a movie? That's a lot of money today for what this amounts to.
Yeah.
They are blowing up a lot of cars, but still, if you think about what's really happening and the acting that's going on, very little. You're really just paying for huge crowds to listen to cool music, and arguably that could be done free if you just arrange the right musical groups. So it's a two. It would be Kanye saying, "Hey, can I have $1 billion, Mark Zuckerberg?" And he says, "Cool, I'll give it to you for reasons which are not totally explainable."
Okay,
Anyway,
all right. So your
three
words.
Don't get it.
Okay. All right, Raul, grab that mic and give us your
Grab like a snack wrap.
grab it.
And
Yes.
Kanye would be saying, like, can I get another finger in my butt?
Grab it like you want it, and tell
He
us
likes that.
tell us
Do
what the
the
fuck
duck
is
head.
So I grew up with this one, probably similar like Condi, and I always loved the music. I actually kind of, in retrospect, I kind of think it was a pretty good pick for Black History Month as well. And it's also it's kind of refreshing to see a movie from this time, and all the black characters are not pimps, drug dealers, thugs, or thieves, or any of that.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm always a sucker for those, like any kind of slice of life film from back then where I get to see a city in its natural state from like 70s, 80s, 90s, you know. So it definitely hits a lot of marks with me.
Yeah, it is kind of that is one of the upshots I'm noticing of like movies now is like the world we knew continues to erode, we can like look to films that we enjoy that have like captured what the world was like. So at least we can kind of revisit it.
And it encapsulates everything really well. I think I like the characters, even though there's not much to them.
Yeah.
They almost feel like a update on some kind of weird silent movie character archetypes or something. But yeah, I've always loved this one.
All right, your 3 words.
Blues make music.
All right. Okay, Cody. You watched this as well. So why don't you give us your 3 minutes, 3 words on the Blues Brothers?
All right. I think I have you beat. I just watched this for the first time yesterday.
Okay,
Yeah.
you win.
It's just one I missed. I don't know why. Just for some reason.
Well, it's because you're 12 years old.
Well, that was supposed to be a secret, and we weren't supposed to talk about it on the podcast.
Yes, yeah, that's right. There's nothing illegal going on here. No children
I'm
involved.
like the steward boy in Master Commander.
Right, watch your arms.
So I think every single time I've been on the podcast, I've talked about the movie cinematography, and I'm not going to break that, and I'm going to not break that streak today.
That's so funny that you would bring this up. Well, it's not funny. It's of course you would bring this up. But go ahead.
Consistency, and I'm a fan of it. So I thought the cinematography was rad, and it bummed me out because comedies today have sucky cinematography. They look like bland crap, and this movie the opening of this movie looked like Blade Runner.
Oh yeah,
It was rad.
When he's getting out of the prison.
Yeah.
Well, they
It's
have
very
the shots
impressive.
of Chicago with all the steam
Yeah.
coming up.
Oh,
from the
yeah, that
buildings,
too.
too.
Yeah.
And there's something, for some reason, modern comedies forgot a word, and that word is contrast, and they have none of it in their movies. They're just flat and boring, and there's no depth, and they suck. So anyway, there you go. I really like the practical effects in this flick. I like that it's like super gritty, like even though it's goofy, but like it looks gritty, kind of like almost like a Dirty Harry flick a little
Right.
bit in the look. But like then they like jump a car over a bridge and then yeah. Any movie that fights Nazis, I'm a fan of. So
Goddamn Illinois Nazis.
yes. I put down the music was
Henry
rad.
Gibson.
I had another cinematography shot or note, which was there's a shot in the movie with the Nazis at Wrigley Field, and when he's framed with the Wrigley Field sign in the background and like the red neon light, I almost like passed out. It was so great.
yeah.
And I loved that the Nazis drove wagons in the end car chase.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then the end car chase also reminded me a lot of the French Connection.
Oh yeah.
With the driving under the bridge.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the first with the perspective shots on the car.
Uh-huh.
And also there's something that I really wish more movies did, which was like really, really, really goofy comedy. Like nobody does like Carrie Fisher shooting rocket launchers at a building.
Yeah.
Just for no reason.
There's a level of silliness to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's
humor.
like, I'm not going to say, Belushi was like Buster Keaton, but like that bit
It's
where,
in that
where
vein,
yeah,
though.
where like she blows up the building and it like just sort of all rains down around them.
Well, that's like,
and
yeah.
they're fine.
no,
Like
we're
the
late.
Stooges
Like,
thing
we're
I was
late.
saying, like it's
Yeah.
got that feel like it is like an old time,
it's
comedy
like
duo.
slapsticky with a budget.
Right, exactly.
I thought it was really good. I think I do share the point that it does have some pacing issues where it's kind of.
Did you watch the director's cut?
I just watched the theatrical cut.
Okay.
And even then, it still is kind of. It's very Malick in that it like has like.
It takes its time.
It takes its time, but not in the way where he's able to like link everything together really perfectly. Sometimes it's kind of like there's some filler that I felt like could have got cut out or streamlined a little bit. I probably would have taken 15-20 minutes out of this movie.
Okay. All right. Well, give us your 3 words.
Okay. My 3 words are gritty, goofy, glorious.
Hey,
I'll
nice.
take it.
All right.
Man, for some reason I thought he was gonna say "got my cheese whiz."
That would have been 4. Okay.
That's the only reason I didn't.
All right. Well, you're not going to get Zeb just yet. We're going to make you wait for that. Nobody gets dessert before their vegetables. So we'll jump back over to Kenzie now.
Are you calling Kenzie potatoes?
I'm
Yeah.
saying
She's
no.
more like Brussels sprouts.
So I'm
Oh,
not
you-
dessert.
I mean, she's
You don't
not-
want it, but you have to have it.
She's not necessarily
Wow.
starchy.
Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Hey, John, while you're up, will you grab my little thing of notes and turn that kitchen light off?
Because everybody wants to
It's
hear
on-
that on the podcast.
Yeah,
Sorry.
cut this out.
Because it isn't 2016 and I can't just go in and cut it out on Audacity. On top of the CD rack. Right there. on the
9/11 was
thing.
an inside job.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Kenzie.
What?
Lima beans, would you
want me
care to
go
speak now?
before John gets back?
3 minutes, 3 words.
I want John to be here.
Okay, he's here. Okay,
I'm here.
You we good, John?
Cut all this
We
out.
are. We're very good.
Excellent. Okay,
Okay.
Kenzie.
Yes.
Your 3 minutes, 3 words.
Okay.
Go
Are
ahead.
you ready?
Yes.
I hate this movie.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl who likes Jennifer's body.
John
I
Belushi's
like
such a
Jennifer
babe.
Connelly.
I like Jennifer's body too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just her body.
No, the movie. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I really do like the soundtrack, though. I could definitely listen to the soundtrack, but I could never watch this movie again. I don't get it. I just don't. I didn't think it was that funny, but I don't see. I also don't see why it's such a big deal. Yeah. So that's it, really. I mean, it was boring. So long, and I'm glad to hear that other people would like shorten it too. I'm glad that's not just me, but yeah.
I wouldn't have shortened it myself.
Comes from the woman who picked the longest movie that we've ever seen.
I know. Well, whatever. Even I thought it was
Is it
long.
still the longest film we've seen?
I think so.
Probably.
That'd be interesting to look at.
What movie was that?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Wolf of Crab Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
How dare you?
So my notes for this are likes, soundtrack, dislikes, everything else. And my 3 words, I had 2 choices. So the first one was okay, I guess. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And then the other one is 2 words, soundtrack.
Man,
Hey,
I almost,
to
I
be
almost
more
feel like
positive
Kenzie
about
picked
it.
this movie now.
Soundtrack good.
It's a Kenzie pick
else
now. I could never watch this movie again.
Bad. Belushi bad.
Okay.
Music.
Okay, Zeb. Your turn. You're up. Give us your 3 minutes, 3 words on
Blues
Los Hermanos Azules.
If I remember correctly, this movie was originally supposed to be 4 hours long.
Get the fuck
And it
out.
wasn't supposed to be a movie. It was supposed to be a roadshow attraction where they would take it from town to town and show it. And it would just be filled with nothing but performances structured around a very loosely structured story. But they ended up cutting it down. And the reason why I know that is because there's lots more musical numbers that did not make it into the final cut.
Oh my god!
It totally felt like that as I was watching.
So
it.
if there's problems with the pacing, it's because they cut a lot out of the movie to get it down to a runtime of about 2 hours or 2:10.
Hold on. So you're saying there's like a 4-hour cut somewhere?
Actually, the
Jesus.
sad thing is some of the footage that they were able to recover was in the cut we saw last week.
Right.
Because when Connie and I were like, I don't remember this in the film.
Yeah.
And it was because it was what was salvageable. What they used to do, Universal used to do, was cut the films and just store it somewhere, but didn't really take great care in storing
Yeah,
it.
Right.
An example would be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's a 3.5-hour cut of that film.
Oh my
somewhere,
god!
But they didn't take good care of the extra footage, so it's
How
lost
long?
forever.
3 hours?
3
3.5.
hours.
Jesus.
God, that would be
The
amazing.
7 Samurai.
So
cut.
like, in the country scene, they were supposed to do several country numbers, like "Sink the Bismarck" and
Really?
something else. Some of it's on rotation at KKSM, PalmerCollegeRadio.com.
Well, I'm a huge Johnny Horton fan. Johnny Horton did Sink the Bismarck.
But with the final cut, I remember the first time I saw it, and I'm a big fan of comedy that goes from 0 to 60, just like that.
Right.
Where like it could be an old man talking about the good old days, and then all of a sudden he pulls a shotgun down on you.
Right.
And tells you to get off his property.
Or shoots at a kid stealing a guitar.
Yeah. I love that kind of comedy, and this film is nothing but that. Just Carrie Fisher in her car, and then she pulls out a bazooka and, blows up
Yeah.
half the building. Or the car chase, or the end chase at the end, driving to the assessor's office. But one
That's
thing,
so much fun. I love
one
that
thing
scene.
I love about this film was we actually get to see a lot of these musicians on film.
Yes.
Like this movie was the first time I heard John Lee Hooker. When I first saw this movie, I was like, I love this song. I'm going to go find out more about this artist.
Right.
This movie is how I found out that Cab Kelly wasn't dead in 1980.
Yeah, that's right.
I was shocked.
And being a music lover, I truly enjoyed this film. I thought it could have been smoothed out here and there a little bit because of the rough cut, I guess. But my 3 words are 3 orange whips.
Orange whip. Orange whip.
3 orange whips.
All right, that's gonna bring it to me. Okay, I wrote a couple of notes down. Well, it's funny the car chase scene through the mall. All I could fucking think is like, who's paying for this?
Yeah.
And I don't mean in the narrative of the. Well, I mean,
Well,
I don't mean in real
abandoned
life.
mall.
I don't mean in real life, like in terms of the production. I meant like if I pretend that I'm watching, I'm involved in the narrative and it's real. Who the fuck is gonna, what
Who's
I
going
mean?
to cover those bills?
Yeah. How is this insured?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I wrote at one point during the film I wrote this down and it seemed really funny to me at the time.
Well, and apparently right now too.
I just wrote down the mania of John Landis.
When he's not crashing through malls, he's blowing up
No,
helicopters.
I think it was because that car chase through the mall. It's like, did they get every cop car in America and crash it? I'm just thinking of more explosions, like bigger, like fucking fly lower, right?
They
Like,
must have got the guy who got all the chargers for Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, and also too, I'm going, okay, it's 1980, it's Belushi. I'm like, the mountain of cocaine on set at all times.
They actually had to get somebody to make sure he wasn't on cocaine at all times.
I'll bet. Yeah, there's because of that story of him like ditching the set and going and passing out. Yeah. Well, but okay, are you telling me like he wasn't on blow during this?
No,
thing?
he was on blow.
Okay.
He had
Yeah.
the muscle to make sure he was straight.
Okay, because I'm like thinking like it's got to like make Scarface
I
look
believe
like
they're
just
called
some Mickey Mouse
handlers
shit.
or wranglers.
Yeah.
A Belushi wrangler, I think I saw in the credits.
Or
actually.
fluffers.
So I
He used
just
to major in Belushi wrangling at Palomar.
I just pictured like John Landis just like railing blow like off of something on set and just like no more fucking cop cars like
Like off the barrel of a revolver or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like whiskey in his pocket.
Doing his best Sam Fuller's.
yeah. Okay, I also too am on board with the I missed this as a kid thing. Now the interesting thing about this film for me, firstly, the other thing I written down is why is this film not considered as a musical? It's a comedy. You go to the video store and you rent this. It's a comedy. Everybody talks about this movie as a comedy.
But it's really a
This
musical.
movie is not fucking funny.
Yeah.
Okay, this movie there's some funny bits. There's some good comedy bits that are very funny. But by and large, particularly at the runtime of the director's cut that we watched, there was far more not funny going on than there is funny. And I don't mean that as a slam.
No, there's a lot of just straight up musical numbers throughout.
Well,
that the narrative takes a back seat to.
Right. And so I don't. For me, the film stood out more as a musical than a comedy, particularly because we are capturing some of like the greatest of all time. Cab Calloway, you just can't find fucking enough footage of this guy. He's one of the all-time greats, and it's like you've got him playing a role in this film. James Brown, especially in the extended cut, you get like that sort of whole number he does with the church, and it's like, dude, he looks great, and it's amazing. So, for me, this film is far more effective as a musical document, and having these kind of guys to sort of take you on this journey through the appropriation of black culture, I suppose. I'm not going to talk about it, but the other thing that I was going to say about this film is that I was going to go into a whole thing about like how it's just a really expensive version of like the worst Saturday Night Live sketch of all times. from a time when the original cast is hailed as these sort of comedy geniuses, but really all they did was like throw shit at the wall to see what stick and then rip off Monty Python. But so my 3 words are musical, not comedy. All right, John, you want to tell us? You want to give us the dank nugs on the Blues Brothers before we talk about before we go balls deep on it?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories about this movie. It's funny you guys are talking about cocaine use because according to Dan Aykroyd, there's actually a cocaine budget on this movie. Because
how rad is that?
They had to do so many night shots to keep people up. So I mean, people were basically nocturnal through the run of this film. So everybody was on coke the whole time. And Belushi said it actually helped his performance.
They would have been anyways.
Well, that's
Why do you think Belushi's fucking dead?
Coke,
Question
man.
though, can Toothless Richard get a cocaine budget
I
for our
know,
next
I
project?
know. Not till we hit the big time, man. And then, man, anything we want.
To show how much of a party guy Belushi was, you kind of touched on the story that he disappeared during filming one night, and then Aykroyd had to kind of go look for him. He saw a path through the trees that led back to this house, and he goes up, he knocks on the door and he tells the guy like, "Oh, we're filming a movie over here. You know, have you seen one of our actors?" He's like, "Oh, you mean Belushi?" And it turns out that like an hour earlier, Belushi had showed up at his front door and come in and asked for like some milk and a sandwich, and then crash out on his couch. But
Do you know what kind of sandwich it was? Or
I
is
do
that
not
unknown?
because
Oh man, we got to call Gandhi in on
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
it was the 70s. Something like like olive
Liver.
loaf,
Well,
liverwurst,
and
yeah.
that's kind of a testament to Belushi's sort of like America loved this guy.
Oh no, he did. He used to
was like
hail
fucking royalty.
He used to hail police cars like cop cars.
That's funny.
He would just
Everybody loved
put
him.
his arm out, and the cop would just stop and just take where he wanted to go. Him and Aykroyd were driving through town one time, and this was after I think this is while they were filming, so it was after Animal House, and they were coming to an elementary school. He's like, "Oh, watch this! Stop!" He has Dan Aykroyd pull over, and he goes and he starts knocking on the windows of the school, right, and making face in the windows. He comes back. Every kid is hanging out the window, chanting like "Bluto, Bluto, Bluto," and just everybody loved him. He would go. People would just push like Coke in his hands.
Oh, I bet.
Everyone to get high with he could just walk into a bar and all of a sudden he's loaded down with like cocaine.
Yeah.
So it's
Probably-
no
he
surprise
probably
that he died.
never took his wallet out. You know?
Yeah, so it's it was a party the whole time they were filming with that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it fits with all the music and shit. I mean,
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've got some time left, so let's get into some of these Bulls Deep questions we've got here. Okay, well, I guess, actually, I didn't write this down in advance, but Garrett, this is something you touched upon, this sort of the cultural appropriation thing. Should we bother talking about that, or is this going to be like a huge fucking beast that like is just going to eat up the rest of the time?
Did we talk about that at all through the Black History Month podcast we've done?
No.
I think we touched base on it at least.
Okay.
I mean, because it's kind of similar. Like we were watching a review of the what is that cartoon Coal Black?
Yeah.
And it's funny because although it is judged to be racist, it was in a lot of ways just these white animators who were fans of this black music and wanted to kind of spread the word to people, and so they create this cartoon so they can showcase the music.
Right.
And then they didn't necessarily handle it the best way, but
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of the same thing like Garrett was saying. You know that Aykroyd and Belushi were huge fans of this kind of music. You got a chance to almost write your own ticket with this movie, and so they wanted to introduce this music and stuff that they love. But then, you get the contrast. Then, but then is it right that it's only people only take an interest in this music once somebody white introduces it to them?
Right. So, but then I guess then the question is, like, at some point when it becomes big enough, like, isn't it like kind of because if it gives people a way to make money at it, you know what I mean, and it's not such a fringe thing anymore. Like, even if I mean, I don't know.
I think it's a good thing too to spread culture between people.
Well, that's kind of my
Is it
thing.
like, should we really be so close-minded to be like, oh well, no, that music's not for you because you're not the right color?
Well, that's
I mean,
kind of my thing. Like,
shouldn't
as a
every-
musician, I don't hear music in terms of its ethnicity.
Well, yeah, and I think everybody should be able to appreciate all different kinds of music.
Well, yeah,
you know.
music doesn't, they don't make it for, color. But it's especially back then when they were on the rise and, especially in the early 80s and everything. And, it was all, black and white. There was no in between. Musically, TV, anything. I mean, you had the Jeffersons, and then the contrast to that, you had Archie Bunker. I
Yeah.
mean, so...
Yeah.
There was different
So-
strokes.
Were you
well,
gonna
yeah,
say
and,
something,
and,
Kenzie?
and even that was like more of a racist thing. He was taken in by the rich white guy.
Okay, well, this is certainly not something that we'll crack here. We're here to talk
Oh,
about
no.
movies. Anyway. So, one thing I do want to talk about, cameo appearances. Now, we have sort of lauded this film for its documentation of these wonderful performers, but the movie is also chock-a-block with cameo appearances from a bunch of people. Now, for me personally, I actually kind of fucking hate cameos because it kind of takes me out of it. For me, it's like it's sort of like a gimmick. It's kind of like it's a hollow way. It's a way to trick you into thinking that you've had a good experience when you haven't. And it's like you go, oh, that's so and so. Oh, that's so and so. But really, like that's because I know them in real life, so that's taking me out of like the narrative of the story. So I found the cameos of some of them to be kind of annoying.
Well, you know what else bugs me about cameos is that the whole movie kind of has to come to a stop for the cameo because they have to pause long enough for you to be able to recognize it.
Right.
So if you have too many, it's kind of like these constant little 30-second stops for no reason.
Yeah.
Like if
So
it was
it's
just
like
an
waiting
extra,
for the
you would just
applause.
move on within 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a good production rule on cameos ought to be: can the next generation of person who doesn't know who the cameo is respond to it and realize that person is a type that makes sense? For example, my 12-year-old, if I forced her to do a Kinsey and watch this goddamn thing, she would hate me. And she would not understand who they're pausing to look at because she didn't grow up imagining these people were thinking about them. However, when they work, when they add up to, oh, that's a homeless guy, rather than it be so-and-so, or whatever is being gone for, that can be very successful. And so then you're taking somebody with star power and stuffing them into a role that they're perfectly fit for by the chance of what they look like. Because they're not there to deliver performance. They're there to be a representation of something else. They're typage. It's a social commentary. But very often, as you say, it's just looking over and there's a famous person and there's another famous person. They're just name checking. It's the worst kind of noise.
Yeah. I kind of
Although
I
in the
did think-
80s were famous for that.
I thought the Spielberg cameo was fun at the end, though.
yeah,
That's
actually,
neat.
you're
And
right.
that a lot of people wouldn't expect to see Spielberg acting, really. So I don't think that. I think a lot of people wouldn't even notice that was Spielberg.
You know, I
Yeah,
guess that
no.
actually makes me kind of a hypocrite because now I'm thinking of the Frank Oz appearance and like this, you know, it's not actually
That
the
was
kind
awesome.
of. It's
Yeah.
not, it was because it's not the kind of person you would expect to see, and because of his relative anonymity physically,
Well, it doesn't take you out of it.
yeah, for me, I know him, and like I think that's cool. They're like acknowledging this.
I
Kind
think
of,
so long
this
as
inside
it
joke.
makes sense for that character to be speaking or interacting. Like if the whole movie pauses so they can like shake their hand and be like, "This is someone.
Right.
You should pay attention."
Yeah.
And then he moves on. Then that kind of sucks.
Does
Yeah,
any-
but all the cameos in this were like mainly a part of the movie.
Yeah, these ones worked better than most movies.
Yeah,
did.
I mean, no, they weren't, they didn't work in the greatest of sense, but yeah, there's a lot of movies that are just all like, hey, kids, look at me, but these actually, like,
the
flow
Sharknado
through.
movies do that really bad.
Oh, well, those are bad movies.
well, yeah, I
so.
know, but I mean,
Around the World in 80 Days has like the worst cameos.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Steve
the-
Coogan
like-
one.
Oh, we're gonna stop. Oh, and there's Frank Sinatra playing a piano.
Right. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Steve Coogan one with Arnold
Oh, fuck
Schwarzenegger.
that
Is there anybody who absolutely like loves cameos that like wants to run to their defense?
I will run to the defense of every cameo, and it's a mad world.
Okay. Okay.
I will
that's-
defend each and every one of Stan Lee's cameos.
Okay. All right. Touche. All right. So next question. Okay, for those of you that have seen this film several times, do you guys want to talk about the theatrical cut versus the director's cut? Because we saw the theatrical cut years ago,
Yeah.
and I didn't remember very well. Watching this director's cut, I didn't realize like how fucking beefed out it was with extra shit. Now, for me, that actually kind of made the pacing of the movie like very kind of like interesting, and I actually kind of really enjoyed it as this kind of thing you could just kind of sink into for a while. But I don't remember what the theatrical cut is like. So, for those of you that have seen it, you want to sort of compare and contrast those two?
I guess I'll go real quick because I know Zeb's going to be able to go like way more into depth than I will. It explains a lot more stuff for me. I mean, yeah, and the cut that we saw, there was a lot more of the music and things like that, like the extended John Lee Hooker. There was like the whole song,
yeah, right.
which was I love that song. I love John Lee Hooker. He's one of the greatest blues musicians of all times. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like when you go to Elwood's job. And he tells him, like, because the whole thing is like they're on a mission from God. He tells his boss, like, I'm gonna go be a priest, and he's all like, oh,
Right.
well, bless you, my son, and it makes it pretty funny. But then he takes whatever from his job, and then they show you in the scene later on how he's injecting that into the police car tires. So that totally explains for me like why the tires start exploding and stuff like that. And
So for you, the heftier length of the film was worth it. Would you say that you prefer the director's cut to the
I
theatrical
love the director's cut, but I'm a guy.
I mean, let's say they were going to eradicate every fucking version of the film except one. Like if you had to have one to last, and you were like, well, that's the one I would prefer to watch.
I would love if that 4-hour cut was up and about.
Well, okay, sure.
But I'm a certain kind of guy that can sit through like slow paced movies or
Right.
just even long movies. But I don't even know what kind of cut to call this because I've seen director's cuts or what they've
Extended
called
cut or
extended
extended
cuts
edition.
and things
or
like
the-
that. But I've never seen some of the footage that was on this. And like
Maybe
I
this
said,
is
I've
like the
probably seen
Roadshow
this like
Junior.
100+ times. Yeah,
it was just called the unrated cut.
Yeah, I've seen.
Just to let people know, we watched it on Amazon Prime Instant Video.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And they had both versions. They had the normal theatrical version and the unrated version.
It's like seeing the extended version of Dune. I could watch that all fucking day long.
Okay.
I actually prefer the extended cut of Dune.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because like Connie said, this explains a lot more of what happened in the theatrical cut, such as when he pulls out that canister and he's like, industrial glue, strong stuff.
Right.
It explains how he got that bottle.
Because he stole it, yeah.
Because he stole it from his work.
Yeah.
And another thing was the Bluesmobile storing it in that electrical generator.
I thought that was really
Oh, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
A scene that they cut out was you actually see the electrical generator electrifying the Bluesmobile, so the Bluesmobile has a little bit more mystical powers. So that's how it's able to jump and
shit.
flip and,
Car's got
and
a
do
lot of
all that
pickup.
stuff.
Right. Because it does seem a bit of a supercar.
Yeah, I would have loved to see the 4-hour cut because, again, I'm just fuzzy memory. They were supposed to take this from major city to major city with musical acts on stage along with the film.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you would see like James Brown in one town, then you see Aretha in another.
Right.
And they'd bring out all these blues magicians or musicians.
Well, they
musicians.
really
they
are
were both.
They are magicians, I
They're
think.
musicians.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Belushi was a
Trademark.
magician and making cocaine disappear.
Well, so was Carrie Fisher. I mean, come on now.
Do you think they ever had like blow sniffing competitions?
Oh, probably before.
They
like,
actually had
Carrie Fisher, hit
a
us up and let us
trailer
know.
on this film, and they called it like the Blues Lounge, and it was just a place to go and do blow.
Wow.
The Blow
Man.
Lounge.
The blow, yeah, the blows lounge.
But in this extended cut, I preferred it. It gave us a little bit more, and the sad thing is there's even more out there, but it's forever gone, and
Man.
that's a big tragedy
It is.
because we could have had another Cab Calloway number.
Yeah. Well, you know, Kubrick did that. He knew that people were going to try to like, so he would destroy everything when he was done with like his like. That's why there's no like, oh, here's the deleted scenes from A Clockwork Orange, because like he knew that like one of these days some asshole is going to try to put these like back in or something, and he's like, no fucking way. So I think from a filmmaker's perspective, like I kind of see the value of destroying the material, but now like we totally lament it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Garrett?
Well, the group here, I guess we're split. There are those of you who just treasure it, and Zeb and David are this way, and some of us
Point
kids
that-
who do
point
not
that
so
mic
much.
at your,
Oh, sorry.
Anyways.
But it does also say something historically, right? This is 1980. And that's probably about the last time I think most filmmakers thought about you're just trying to deliver this to your delivery date, make deadline, release it, and you're done. I think in our lifetimes, there is this sense that you may as well have the extra 20 minutes somewhere left over, because if it succeeds, you can have a Blu-ray, and then you can stream something different, and you can have a 25th anniversary and so on. And we think about
Peter
posterity
Jackson.
that way. Yeah. Right,
I like the Lord
right.
of the Rings extended cut.
Right.
Yeah, I do too. I prefer those.
And that just seems you're making mention of Kubrick, and I think that maybe what he was doing was just, well, I'm done. I'm not trying to destroy it to stick my finger in somebody's eye, but it's done. It should
Sure.
be over with.
Yeah.
And let's not probably stopping himself too. I don't want to go back in the closet and find out that one section that I didn't like back then and redo it in 10 years. Just you cut it off.
Yeah.
But we have this appetite seemingly to have things that extend forever and ever. And yeah, we can make jokes. I mean, Blade Runner, I've got I think 7 copies of it at home.
Oh yeah.
And I think I've seen 4 of them, and I'll probably never see the other 3. But I can't wait for the 8th, and I'll certainly go get a copy of that.
Right.
Even better.
I've
It
got
is.
like
I
4
know.
different versions of Army of Darkness.
Yeah, there's a lot of different cuts of that too.
That doesn't seem like a particularly valuable thing on one hand, but then again, in this room, several of you are terribly devoted to this movie, and if you discovered there was a 6-hour cut, you'd go get it,
Goddamn right.
and
Don's
that would be
Boot, baby.
special to you, right? And that would be a better and fuller experience, and that couldn't have been anticipated at the time because they were just trying to not overspend, but they did. They were trying to remain sober, but they didn't. They were trying to meet
They weren't
deadline,
trying to
but they
remain
kind of
sober.
did. And so on and so on. It's just it's a different frame for how I think people do audiovisual culture today, where they are always anticipating how can we string something into its own franchise without making it again, but just extending it a little bit at a time. For
Right.
me, like I've watched Superbad a number of times, and I accidentally watched it with people, and I showed them the uncut version, which is longer, sadder, more kind of vulgar, unnecessarily so, but probably there's a different cut. Seth Rogen will die, and they'll bring that out.
Right, yeah.
And
But
like
that
what-
can't come soon enough.
Yeah. Well, and this is evidence of that. I think that 1980-ish is kind of, I think, when people in the general public were starting to think about movies as not just something you go do once a week, but that can have their own life. Because you could do video. And eventually it could do DVD and so on and so on.
Probably,
No bigger
and
point.
probably the. I'm sure Star Wars having much to do with that. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
And this theme.
Yes. We're now moving forward, starting tonight with our new theme, our new round of Cinema Under Glass, Animal Antagonist.
And be sure to check out our next show, which is going to be the wrap-up for our entire Buddy Picture theme.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap that
Ooh,
up.
that
We'll
should be
talk
fun.
about them and rank them all.
So, well, we should get cracking on that. So, clockwise, starting with me, I'm Ed.
I'm Condi.
I'm John.
I'm Kenzie.
Garrett.
I'm Raul.
Cody.
Zeb.
He's Zev.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.